Hello and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Ahmad Rishdan bin Hazat. So today we are going to do simple experiment on crystallization.
The definition of crystallization process.
So first thing first, we need to know the definition of the crystallization process. Crystallization process is a method of transforming from homogeneous fluid phase into a solid crystalline state or particles, where a supersaturated solution nucleates the solute by a chemical equilibrium control process. During crystallization, atoms and molecules bind together with well-defined angle to form a characterized crystal shape with a smooth surface and faces. So this is the example of my crystal.
Next, we move to the crystallization experiment.
The experiment to show the crystalline process that I chose is sugar crystallization experiment. The application of the experiment is used to make rock candy. So, this is the example of my rock candy, and this is another example of the rock candy. So, in this video, I'm going to tell step by steps and the materials to produce the rock candy.
Now we move to the equipment and ingredients for this experiment.
There are several equipments and ingredients required to do this experiment. The first one is the saucepan. The second one is hot water. The third one is sugar. The fourth one is food coloring. The fifth one, the tall glasses. And lastly, wooden ice cream stick.
Now we move to the procedure and the mechanism of crystallization process.
So, what is the mechanism of the crystallization process? What's happening when you make a rock candy? How does the crystal appear on the popsicle stick?
Now, what's really happening to it and the science behind it? In order to successfully make a rock candy, you need to start with a good foundation. A supersaturated solution can be made by dissolving sugar into the hot water until there's no sugar can be dissolved. As water gets hotter, the space between molecules grows, allowing more sugar to fit in between these molecules. This is why hot water is better and preferable in making rock candy instead of cold water. So why does sugar crystallize in water? As time passes, the water will evaporate slowly from the solution. As the water evaporates, the solution becomes more saturated and sugar molecules will continue to come out of the solution and collect on the seed crystal on the stick. The rock candy crystals grow molecules by molecules.
Creating a rock candy is pretty simple. So basically, you put a sugar coated stick into a sugar saturated water and let it still for roughly 10 days until most of the water has evaporated and you are left with crystallized sugar stick. It's simple.
The advantages and disadvantages of crystallization process.
There are several advantages and disadvantages of crystallization process. The advantages of crystallization process are high purification can be obtained in a single step. It may be more economic than alternative separation process. And lastly, it produces a solid phase which may be suitable for direct packaging and sale. While the disadvantage of the crystallization are, it generally purifies one component, its yield is limited by phase equilibrium, and lastly, process kinetics are more complex.
Conclusion: